Hello World Wide Web, I'm Darker Shadow, the internet personality of this hair. And today we're going to be looking at a little request I got during an episode of Live and Wired. Moontrap. Released in 1989, directed by Robert Dyke, Moontrap stars Bruce fucking Campbell opposite Pavel Chekhov himself, Walter Koenig. And after hearing about how it has Ash Williams and robots and lasers and 80s, I'm wondering how in the hell I managed to miss this one until being asked to review it. The story goes Bruce and Walter are astronauts doing boring old astronaut stuff, but a fateful encounter with a mysterious spaceship leads them to believe that there is something strange and potentially dangerous waiting on the moon. However, once they arrive, they find far more than anyone bargained for. Least of all the movie's budget, which I can only assume was about $20 and a Little Caesars pizza. So, let's take a look at Moontrap and see just how far they managed to stretch that. The movie opens to stock footage of the Apollo moon landing. Kind of a cheap way to establish the mood, but you gotta admit it does work for the feel of the movie.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
And of course, out of the way, history, it's time for the fucking 80s. Later, it's the first moon landing. We still have to wait through the whole 70s before the movie starts. And 80s, actually, as while this movie is from the 80s, the story takes place in the 90s, where we have, well, credits to look at, but I swear it is interesting. Jason Grant, played by Walter Koenig, is bemoaning his boring job day in and day out, staring at the vast nothing of space from within the space shuttle.
Yeah, but you wanted adventure. High adventure. And you got it.
You call this adventure? Come on, I'm a truck driver.
We always hear about truckers in space, but what about truck stops in space? Where does one go for the best interplanetary junk food? Jason's more interested in just getting any decent meal on this space shuttle, but it ain't that easy in reality, so freeze-dried rations it is. Ah, well, using a handy-dandy false alarm, he wakes up his space partner, Ray Tanner, played by Bruce Campbell. He's the young, hip, rebellious, middle-aged astronaut, who, like Jason, used to be an Air Force pilot.
Our best flying days are behind both of us.
Ah, yes, but yours are farther behind.
Oh, not necessarily, Bruce. The man still gets plenty of Star Trek gigs far after this movie came out. We need more characterization, though, so just now they bring up the topic of Top Gun pilot nicknames. Jason, for instance, was called Einstein because he could think his way out of anything. What then was Ray known for?
The penetrator. Ah, come on, look, because I always went the farthest end of the target, goddammit.
And I was the strap-on, always having to remind everyone to put on their seatbelts. Except my friend Peg. That's enough character building, so they discover an odd blip on the radar. Expecting it to be merely a defunct satellite or space junk, Houston assures that they'll pass by it at a safe distance. Probably. But that's not all.
I got a scan. Is that what I think it is?
Alien ship? Alien ship. I'm fine with alien ship. Hostile alien ships, even. As long as it's not another fucking Predator. Hearing from Houston that this particular derelict spaceship is in a decaying orbit and will be utterly destroyed in the Earth's atmosphere relatively soon, Jason decides they must go out there at once to see just what discoveries await.
Probably dangerous as hell. What do you say, Ray?
You got it. Oh, me.
I don't care if this man is Ashley Williams. I'm motherfucking Chekhov. I have far more clout in the sci-fi genre. Thus, me first, Jason gets to have his tiny action figure get strung along the painted backgrounds.
All I hear is heavy breathing out there, pal. So how's it look to you?
Big.
Very descriptive.
Very big.
You know, you could maybe try collecting some data that doesn't sound like awkward phone sex. Getting closer to investigate only brings up more questions, like mysterious hieroglyphics carved into the side of the craft, and a place where there's a big hole blasted into the hull, allowing Jason to peek inside. There he finds something even stranger.
What is it?
Have no idea. Looks self-contained, like it wasn't part of the ship.
Come on, Jason, even if you can't hear the soundtrack, I'm pretty sure there is something about this pod that just screams, "Don't fuck with this!" That's not the only freaky-ass fuck thing here. That Alright, hey, don't let Space Mummy bother you, just land the shuttle and move on. While the rest of the ship has burnt up in the atmosphere, the crew managed to salvage the pod and the Space Mummy. As it happens, it's a human being, dated 14,000 years old, and there is also moon dust present, suggesting it's an ancient, prehistoric astronaut.
What about that?
Well, that's some very tough alloy, and hollow inside. We can't seem to open it without destroying it.
Our best guess is some kind of ancient pre-civilization space Kinder Egg. Mr. Haskell, played by Revis Graham, isn't impressed with the find, as he's sure it's all just some hoax cooked up coincidentally enough just around budget time.
There's nothing like a little mystery and space hype to sort of jack up the bucks at NASA.
We've already decided we're never going to be caught up in another crazy project ever since you tricked us into funding the first moon mission with your crazy promises of cheese. Obviously, this douche scoffing at the evidence literally right in front of his face catches the ire of the scientists surrounding him. But instead of just beating the crap out of him and taking his government money, they opt to calm down with a coffee break, leaving the pod all alone, with only the creepy classic sci-fi horror music playing ominously in the background. Aw, the murderous moon machine was just shy is all. With the prying eyes gone, it whips out its tentacles and shatters the windows before examining its dead cellmate here.
Replay analysis. Organic remains human.
Oh, sweet Jesus fuck, this is like a horror version of Star Control music. I fucking love it. Also, I like how it keeps going for a while, although I can't really play the music that long without welcoming even more automated copyright claims. The pod, interfaced with the surrounding computers, examines all the data on the ancient astronaut and even figures out it used to be wearing an even more classic sci-fi spacesuit inside its mysterious spaceship that came all the way from the moon itself.
Launch site. Prometheus crater. Prometheus crater.
Why does it always come back to Prometheus? With that, the computers explode, and the pod tears the machinery down as a means of incorporating it into its own body. In the meantime, the science types are still trying to talk Haskell into conveying the need for a moon mission ASAP. There could be all kinds of scientific discoveries just waiting for them, or for someone else.
Of course, you guys know that the Soviets are supposed to attempt a lunar landing within the next 2 years.
Now, look, you can't stampede the president with that kind of talk.
It's supposed to be the 90s. The Soviet Union, well, just isn't really that much of a threat anymore. So while they work on their negotiations, someone walks into the examination room only to discover the body is gone and everything's been destroyed. Not sure how they managed to miss the giant fucking robot monster that managed to sneak up on them and kill them instantly. It's just too bad Bruce Campbell wasn't around this time.
Yeah! Hey, we don't take no shit from a machine.
Works for me. I wouldn't mind seeing Ash Williams versus Terminator, Transformers, Killbots. Hell, take out the reboot Chucky while you're at it. Of course, that loose machine tearing its way through NASA doesn't go unnoticed, and our heroes follow with the security forces down to where it's lurking. What they find is a horrifying cyborg Frankenstein monster, cobbled together from spare parts and the mummy, with the pod acting as a robotic brain.
Fire on my command! Wait! Hold your fire! Don't do anything foolish! This is a great moment for mankind.
Have you ever seen a more effective form of recycling in your life? Barnes, played by John J. Saunders, points out that this is the first time in history we have had any kind of contact with an extraterrestrial intelligence. Therefore, they should put their guns down and give peace a chance. All they have to do is ensure that the thing understands that what they want more than anything is coexistence.
Give us a sign. Get the son of a bitch!
Wouldn't that be some shit if aliens came to Earth seeking peace, but just so happened to sneeze lasers? With Barnes' blessing, the security guards open fire on the thing! And I can't possibly not mention that this cyborg monster, built from robotic components and human remains, was probably more than a small influence on the creature designs for the movie Virus. The fight is tense and goes on for a fucking while, but Einstein over here has an idea. There's a sprinkler system on the roof. ignore that, it wasn't what they were actually looking at. It's the ducts that are important. Sneaking stealthily inside the conveniently human-sized ventilation system allows Jason to get right on top of the bastard with a boomstick! And as we've all learned from video games, at point-blank range, a shotgun can one-hit kill an aircraft carrier. After this chaotic encounter, Jason hopes at least it was enough to convince Haskell to endorse the mission to the moon? Skipping ahead a bit, we establish what his home life is like. First and foremost, he has a son, played by Doug Childs, and said son exposits important information, like the fact that his mother is off with her new boyfriend. Thus, Jason is single. This is important because he's about to go to a strip club, mainly because Ray calls him and is more than a little tipsy.
Shit.
What's the problem?
I better go get him. He's shooting his mouth off about classified stuff.
The faked moon landing, the world is flat and all that. The last mission? And we found some weird shit in Wyoming. Thus, Jason heads to Joey's, home of authentic 80s titties, and where we find Ray hanging out with the third astronaut for this mission, George Beck, played by Tom Case.
You called Jason yet?
He's coming down here to shut me up.
Oh, yeah.
I knew he'd never come if I just asked him.
Sure as hell wouldn't.
Sure as... Jason, my man!
Oh shit, with beard, tits, and bad decisions everywhere, I'd figure at least one Jason would show up. As it turns out, Ray knows that their mission to the moon has been greenlit. Before you know it, these three motherfuckers will be going to space!
Go, baby! Go! Yeah!
Like, the next day, I guess. Damn, shit happens fast in this movie. Thus, they're on the moon! Ray picks up Jason in his handy-dandy moon buggy, while the two of them leave their lunar lander behind, navigating with the help of George and the Order. However, they are not alone up here. But it's not them that the Robobot is interested in, but rather that sexy, sexy lunar lander. Oh, my sweet baby, I thought you would never come back. Death Roomba is never going to let her slip away again, grasping at the lander with its tentacles. This goes unnoticed by our dynamic duo, who continue towards the likely source of the spaceship from earlier. However, the buggy can't quite make it up a slight hill, and thus they have to hoof it the rest of the way, so they can truly stand in awe at what they find.
Oh, man. No wonder we never saw it from orbit.
Why? It's not exactly small. Or hidden. I'm pretty sure on a clear enough night Galileo could have spotted it. Seeing this somehow means the buggy can, just go around the crater, I guess? While the impressive paintings are shining a beacon of light, which they figure must be an invitation of some kind. However, they're not going in unprepared, so whatever moon men they find can say hello to their little friends.
Christ. Guns on the moon.
I don't think we're the first ones, pal.
Now, if you brought some motherfucking chainsaw hands, that could be some nice bragging rights. Both outside and in, the two of them find more than a few human remains. However, as they explore the structure, it eventually leads to a chamber with another skeleton and a weird container right in the middle. But if this is a container, what then does it hold?
It's a woman.
But I've always heard women were from Venus! What is this madness? Their presence also seems to have broken whatever seal there was on this, causing the woman inside to awaken. That's not to say she's instantly friendly, however.
Hey, watch it! Don't let her go!
Look, goddammit, we're human.
Fucking hell, Jason! Most sci-fi characters pull some shit out of their ass about the air being breathable before pulling off their helmets, even though that's still a pretty stupid idea. You just pop the damn thing off and hope for the best. And hell, Ray wasn't even in the frame and he pulled it off too. Ah well, out of sheer luck, this stunt didn't get both of them killed, and the woman does calm down long enough for the three of them to Tarzan Jane their way into figuring out that her name is Mara, played by Leigh Lombardi. I mean, they didn't know her actress, they just... hell, you know what I mean. It seems Jack Skellington over here was someone pretty important to Mara. I could assume husband, but honestly, they never spell it out quite that bluntly. At least not as overtly as what happens to the lander. Don't you just hate it when you're not quite sure, is that my car being jacked, or is my microwave dinner ready? George calls the guys to let them know the sensors show the lander is moving, at which point they bring up a surprise package which evidently hasn't been tampered with, but just remember that for later. Well, gotta head back, and as luck would have it, Mira has her own handy-dandy spacesuit. Slightly less luckily, they are attacked by another instant cyborg Just Add Parts.
What the hell was that?
Kalium.
Oh, good, I can stop coming up with other names for them. I was down to Mecha Coffee Beans, and well, that's about it. Now that we know what to call them, I can point out the obvious. The Kalium have indeed stolen the lander. On the plus side, the moon's surface is dusty as hell, and there's not exactly a lot of wind, providing our heroes with very, very easy-to-follow tracks. This isn't quite as easy as it sounds, though, as the moon buggy only has so much juice, and of course its batteries die in short order. With that, Ray asks Einstein just what the hell they're supposed to do now.
We walk.
Why didn't I think of that?
I mean, I wasn't expecting it, but it would have been nice if Jason MacGyvered up some motorcycles out of moon dust and background radiation. Hoofing it the rest of the way, they discover that the Kalium are in fact building their own damn spaceship right here on the moon. With that in mind, Jason decides he must go in to stop them. However, Ray stops him and points out the only way to stop them is together. Unfortunately, though, something tries to stop them. And yeah, a lot of the action on the moon is pretty quiet, which does make sense. I mean, it is the moon, no atmosphere, but now that just leaves me wondering who in the hell keeps playing all that music in the background. Mira still tosses Ray his gun, allowing him to fight off this Kalium bastard. However, they are then attacked by a subsequent Kalium bastard, who is then taken out by Jason, but not before he mortally wounded Ray, who is now tragically bleeding to death in Jason's arms. However, that's not their only problem.
I've got a problem here, too. Nothing seems to be working.
Well, that and the fucking lightning bolt that jerked the orbiter down by 20 degrees. Kinda surprised he didn't feel that. Pretty sure he feels the falling to his death, though. Before Ray dies, though.
Remember one thing.
What's that?
We don't take no shit from a machine.
I need you to go back and kick that dead battery moon buggy's ass for me, will ya? With that final shout of defiance, Ray succumbs to his wounds. Now with an alien ship set to invade the Earth, all his friends dead, and all hope for escaping the moon seemingly lost, Jason says, fuck it, and just turns the fuck around, taking out his handy-dandy inflatable moon camp and setting up a little home away from home on the lunar surface. This gives him an even bigger opportunity to mope about how he's managed to fuck this mission and get all his friends killed. Well, Mira knows what can cheer this guy up. Some good old-fashioned low-gravity fucking. And it's a damn good thing they get fully dressed in their spacesuits right after, because... I mean, if they weren't already dressed, good luck getting back in your spacesuit now that you're out of breath. And yeah, the Kalium used Ray as parts, just for that extra WTF factor. And now they've collected the whole set! However, they don't just kill them. No, that would rob us of our climax and important revelations, like Jason figuring out that he and Mira were in fact kidnapped to be used as spare parts. Which he probably should have figured out well before now, but oh well. Kalium shows up shortly after to strip Mira for parts, or just slowly chop away at her clothes, while giving Jason plenty of time to break free and search for something to use to save her. It might not be the most badass fight I've seen on film, but if my time playing EDF has taught me anything, is that in that position, I would just be going like, bloop, bloop, bloop. The intercept mission intended to pick them up from the orbiter is still going according to schedule. The Kalium brought them to the ship, which has taken off on its way to invade the Earth. This means they can explore it and find the core, the very lander they brought to the moon in the first place.
The last piece of equipment they needed to complete this ship. And they waited 14,000 years for us to bring it.
And technically, America already brought 2 before now, but they never actually tried taking it until you also brought guns with you. Bad guys in movies are never good at planning. Especially considering that super secret special package this one had that the others didn't. A self-destruct device. Thus, Jason fires it up, sure to destroy the Callium vessel. And, well, himself and Mira. Sure, he saw the shuttle on the monitors and knows they're out there, but that's no reason to actually make an attempt to reach them. Let's just sit here, all depressed, for several minutes, watching that timer tick down.
Do you know what I think?
But then he realizes in the nick of time that his Uzi can in fact be used as a means of propulsion in zero gravity. Way to go, only took you 4 minutes and some dumb luck, Einstein. So he and Mira zoom out of there, where Jason has enough time for one last epic badass line before he destroys the Callium once and for all.
Goddamn government contractors.
Okay, it's a weird time to bring that up, but you do you, Jason. Thus, the Earth is saved, but more importantly, so is Jason's sex life. It's been some time, and Mara has learned English enough to exposit that she was chosen to warn us. I guess about the Callium, but no bother. Everything is fine now.
It's over.
Jason? There is a difference between a look signifying that you're not quite as certain as you would like to be, and looking like you're in cahoots with the damn things. Even worse, we see it is indeed not over, for at least one of those damn things did manage to make it to Earth and land, of all places, in a junkyard. Now for the super special secret message you hear for waiting through the credits.
Look, we got a tag on every piece of junk up there. Anything else would have burned up. You know that, right? Forget about it.
Right.
Movie, it's okay. You only need to sequel bait us once. It's alright. It's over. Just let it stop, okay? Anyway, that was Moontrap. Wow. Damn, this is a film that tests a motherfucker who claims to like B-movies, because that's what it is in the purest form. The effects are cheap, the sets are paintings, the miniatures are oh so obvious, and of course the plot is a pretty serious monster movie threat delivered with some cheesy dialogue. Because it's such a pure B-movie, it's honestly not the easiest film to watch. It doesn't poke fun at itself, or not take itself seriously, but it's the charm of it being so straightforward despite the shoestring budget that gives it its flavor. That's not without drawbacks, though. I can appreciate the time spent on establishing shots and trying to set the mood, but, like I said, the budget makes Bazooka Joe Gum look expensive, meaning there really isn't much spectacle to gawk at on a movie set mostly in the lunar wasteland. It's still fun, obviously. The robotic threat is eerily similar to the one from Virus, and you can't go wrong with Bruce fucking Campbell. Robots and lasers and spaceflight and 80s hair and tits and... well, yeah, I enjoyed this movie. However, at a mere 90 minutes, it still feels a whole lot longer than it is, not due to complexity, but because of just how slow things move on the moon. At the end of the day, Moontrap has clearly earned its place in cult cinema. It's an odd picture, but very much worth checking out for fans of 80s cheese and B-movies trying to punch like heavyweights when all the training they've had is 30 minutes of Tiger Schulman's karate. Also, best with a group of friends and some drinks to those lovely establishing shots that take up so much running time, coming in at 2 sexy 80s hairdos out of 5. And it's kind of a hard one to rate. I mean, I loved it, but at the same time, I'm not quite so certain that your average moviegoer would be quite as obsessed with low-budget B-movies as myself. I mean, it's not like something like this would ever get a sequel. I mean, except for this one. But, thank you all for watching. I've been Decker Shadow, and remember, we don't take no shit from a machine.
Goddamn government contractors.